Adam Thompson, criminal defense attorney. Go ahead, Adam.
I gotta agree with Wendy on this. I've been defending cases for 25 years, and I think a judge should always maintain an appearance of impropriety, where he's staying away from both sides of slants or favoritism.
But let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with him chastising the defendant for saying that inappropriate comment. He was right to put her in a place for that. But to say, I hope you die in prison, his job is to lay down a fair sentence based on the law and move on. I think it goes a little bit too far when he starts commenting in that nature. I don't think
Well, first of all, let me make a couple of points here. One, I hope you die in prison. Apparently she will die in prison because he sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Right. So I hope you die in prison is kind of a misnomer. It doesn't really make sense.
He didn't say, I hope you get stabbed tomorrow.
But
he said, I want you to stay in prison.
Here's the thing. They're going to appeal. Can they use this as grounds for appeal and argue the judge was biased from the get-go, Wendy?
I mean,
now, that is one of the considerations.
This is going to be Exhibit
for appeal.
1 in the argument on appeal that she should get an entirely new trial. Now, the prosecution is going to say, it'd be one thing if you were arguing for a new sentence because he was crazy during sentencing, but there's no evidence that he was crazy during the trial. I don't know enough about whether the judge was a nut during the trial part of the case, too. I just don't know.
Was found
but I can tell you
guilty.
this.
Hold on 1 second.
This reveals a kind of bias that needs investigation.
Yeah,
because if he was biased against her, she is entitled to a new trial.
Dr. Tiff, somebody doesn't become biased like that and suddenly this is something clearly that was building throughout the course of the trial. He made references to the evidence and to the facts of the case. So I think that this was something possibly that was building up throughout the entire course of the trial, and an attorney could argue that.
Yeah, I think as he listened to the testimony and listened to the victim impact statements and everything else, that it certainly tugged on his heartstrings. He got a little emotional and probably a little too emotionally involved. I agree with Wendy. I think that personally, he had every right to feel the way that he felt, but professionally, there's a level of that anger that he has to keep inside so that when it does come upon appeal, because she's going to try and appeal it,
all right,
so that it can be thrown out. You don't want that sentence to be thrown out.
All right, listen, I want to play it again. I want to hold it. I want to play it again. I want to play it again so that we can listen to it carefully now that we've kind of set the stage about all the issues that are involved and then analyze it from a psychological perspective, too. Let's play it again.
Okay. And you end up probably in some kind of domestic, ultimately hit him in the head so hard with a pan that you actually cave in the front of his skull. And then you stabbed him no less than 12 times. And you know what? I was the only one in the courtroom that knew what kind of knife that was. And it was a big old long fillet knife. Because I used it to fillet pike and muskie and salmon. And I'll tell you, you gutted him like a fish in that apartment too. You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed.
You know, Dr. Tiff, I'm not being flip here, but maybe he's had a bad day, because he's talking a lot about himself, about his fishing and I don't know, it feels all over the map.
Yeah, it feels like he kind of turned it around a little bit and put it on him and put it in his everyday life. He's pissed at this lady. I think she was disrespectful in the courtroom, disrespectful to him and disrespectful to the victim and the victim's families. And he made sure he let her know that was not happening in his courtroom.
Yeah, but you know what? A judge is supposed to be
impartial.
The representative of our justice system being blind. They're supposed to be dispassionate. If you let judges start acting like this, what's next? Them exploding during the trial? Them yelling at the defendant when they've taken the stand? I mean, you're opening a Pandora's box. I think bad move, Your Honor. The stars of a popular reality show are now about to appear in a new